can blame that on me. You can blame it on me. You can blame it on me. 'Cause I've been looking for the answers, running through my brain. Nothing feels the same since we blew all of our chances. And pride could never pull me closer. I've been getting lost, paying all the costs just to forget that I knew us.
Welcome to the Enkindled Columbus podcast. You're listening to Lost by Jordan Dean. If you want to hear more from Jordan, check him out on Instagram at JordanDean_music or on Spotify, Apple Music, or literally anywhere else you stream music. As always, check us out on Instagram at Enkindled Columbus or on Facebook at Enkindled Columbus. And if you're feeling extra generous, check us out on Patreon. For as low as $2 a month, you can help support the local music scene and get your name mentioned on the podcast as a contributor. And now, our podcast with Jordan Dean. Welcome to the Enkindled Columbus podcast. My name's Zach.
And this is Alonzo, and today we're with Jordan Dean. What is up, dude?
How's it going, guys? I'm happy to be here. This is my first podcast appearance on any platform. So.
Well, hell yeah, dude. Glad we could be the first.
Thank you.
Glad we could take your podcast virginity. That sounds awesome. But,
man.
so
starting quick.
Wow.
we're hot.
Is that classy? Is that a classy?
Yeah, no, that's...
Are we still within the realms?
Just be gentle, please.
Yeah, okay, absolutely. Absolutely.
Please buy you a glass of wine.
Yeah.
Get some cigarettes.
So let's just jump into it. Who is Jordan Dean?
Well, I'm a singer-songwriter from Cleveland. I've been doing music for probably since I was 16. Guitar player is my main instrument. I love writing, love playing, and yeah.
Well, hell yeah, dude. I mean, that's the way to go. So, how do your productions come together? That was something I know we're kind of diving deep here, but how do your productions come together? They start acoustic and go from there, or how do you go into that?
Yeah, they definitely start acoustic. 95% of the songs that I've written I write on the acoustic guitar completely, and then we kind of go in the studio and we build them up around that. But it's just a matter of sitting down. And when I was trying to learn how to write songs at the beginning, I would try to write as many as I could just to get good at it. But now I'm finding more that you can't really force it.
Yeah, the inspiration just kind of comes when it comes, and you just have to ride that wave.
Definitely, yeah.
And I know it's different for everybody too, because some people can like sit down and just without even hearing it, just write a song. But I've never been that way. So
yeah.
Everybody's process is a little different.
Have you been playing like guitar and stuff like your entire life, or when did music kind of come to you?
Well, it's kind of interesting because I started out with piano lessons when I was like 7 years old. I took them till I was 13, and then I was kind of like, no, I don't really like music, because I was taking classical piano lessons, and I didn't love doing it.
That sounds fun. Sounds crazy.
Yeah, I know. And so I stopped playing. Kind of took a year and a half off of doing really any music stuff. Lost most of my piano ability. Still to this day, trying to recover that. But then I picked up the guitar. My uncle had played, and I asked him to show me a few chords, because it was around that time where I was really getting into listening to my own music, not just top 40 stuff. And I was trying to find out what I liked.
Yeah, you kind of discover like who you are at that time, like what kind of music you're going to vibe with.
Definitely. So he taught me like a few chords, and then other than that, I completely taught myself how to play guitar. But then I'd play people the chords and be like, oh, can you guess the song? Like some kind of idiot. Like, no, they're not going to be able to guess the song. And so then I started singing a little bit. And then after that, songwriting came around. And so it was kind of, I was a little late to it, but I tried to make up for that by just working as hard as I could at it as early as I could.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everything I've heard that you've put out has been like consistently good. And I'm not just saying that to blow smoke up your ass. Like I try to go through and listen to everything an artist puts out before we do the interviews, and I'm like, every single song is consistently good. You've got a sound that's like that just works perfect for you.
Yeah, the sound. I mean, it's very well produced. Like it feels. I think I like to use the word organic. I think I used that before turning on the microphone.
Yeah.
No, and I think that's good. We were talking about this earlier. I think also your vocals, I think they're very welcoming.
All right.
They're very it feels right. It feels good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, when you're hitting the studio and stuff like that, you know, say you have the song written on acoustics, do you already have like are you playing the drums and stuff yourself, or you have someone sitting in? You have session artists, or how's that working? Like when you're going into the studio.
So I've had a few different experiences doing that kind of stuff. A lot of my more early stuff, I just went in saying, I have me and I have the song. Let's just see what happens.
Yeah, you got like the bones of it.
Yeah, I'd tell the guy that was helping me out, the producer, kind of a group of artists. That was before I knew a lot of how this stuff works with sound engineering.
Right.
And it was just, I'll list these artists or these songs and let him kind of ask me, like, is this good or is that good?
Yeah.
And then on these last two releases, my first on this indie label that I'm on, I got to go out to LA and we got like a nice studio and we brought in a drummer and a bassist, super talented guys, and we just planned it all out ahead of time, what we wanted them to sound like, and we played through them and got them done. So it was a good experience. I like that way, doing it a lot better than kind of just guessing.
Yeah, I think it always flows way better when you have an idea for where things need to go.
Probably save you money too. Like,
when you
get into studio time, writing in the studio.
We talked about this, I think, in the last podcast we dropped, but man, the metronome is my enemy.
Really?
Yeah, it breaks my heart every time.
Yeah, you're a lead guy. You're a lead guy.
I'm like, I can't. It doesn't help also when you suck at guitar trying to record. So that's another road. But like, no, that's definitely cool. I mean, so what have, like, you know, being a solo artist, what have you learned, like, working with others then, like, and I have another question following that, but go ahead. Yeah.
Working, it's nice to be able to write the songs by myself and then kind of bring people together to ask on their opinions and see what they think. Because I do like, the studio is my favorite place and my least favorite place, I'd say, at the same time, because it's my favorite because I get to work and make the songs how I want them, but it's my least favorite because you take something that you love and so near to you when you write it on the acoustic, and you take it in there and you kind of like mess with it, and it's tough to get over that kind of, all right, these people like are going to have inputs on that, and I try to, I mean, I have final say and things like that, but I do like the collaborative aspect of working in the studio with people. I think that's a nice thing to do.
Just different creative minds, I think, just help lead.
Especially like when you hit the studio, it's like pressure's on. It's like, we got to get, we're here for a reason. We got to get this, we got to get something done. Right. You don't want to waste anyone's time.
And with all that being said, that leads to this next question of like, when moving forward with performing and stuff, are you wanting to perform with a band now, or do you think that's what you're looking for?
Yeah. So ever since I started, I've only done solo gigs. I tried to use a loop pedal for a bit.
It's really easy to mess up. I feel like
it's
if
a lot of pressure up there.
Yeah.
So I'd like to get a band together and start doing that kind of stuff for live gigs, because I'm starting to gain some more traction with numbers now.
Absolutely.
If I start, because right now I've been kind of mostly opening shows or doing acoustic showcases. So if I'd like to do a headline show at a venue, you kind of need that.
I think we had the same discussion with Frankie Soleil. I think she was talking about how, like, being a solo artist, you're only going to get so far until you have to move past like the opening act.
Yeah, I think we talked about it with Faye as well.
A
lot of the like venues don't take you seriously sometimes when you're just a solo artist. They want bands on stage, because that brings out crowds, I guess. But yeah, so that's good.
And I think with that band aspect, since you have the mindset like, okay, I'm looking for this band, do you think the way you write music is going to start to change along with like if working with a band? Have you anticipated it?
Yeah, yes and no, because I have so many songs in the vault right now that I know how I want them to sound. I just need the opportunity to get in the studio and do them. Right. So they will sound a little bit more bandy, because working with those session musicians for the first time that I had mentioned, I think that helped that was a really formative experience for how my sound was developing.
Yeah, it kind of brings a new inspiration. You're like, okay, well now I know we can do this.
Yeah, exactly. And so I took what I learned from that, and I applied it to those songs that I had already written. So yeah, I think they will sound more band-esque, but I'm not changing the way I write just yet.
Yeah, you're still sticking to the
Yeah.
core of what you do, just kind of expanding on that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, you talked about signing to a label. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so it's this small indie imprint out in Los Angeles called Slow Down Sounds. And yeah, I just got noticed by them, and we signed a deal, and to do a few songs. Gone and Lost were the first two that we released from that deal. So we've got a couple more coming, hopefully, in the next couple months, and then see what happens. But
what was the experience like flying out to L.A.? And
it
was pretty surreal?
Yeah, super surreal. And I didn't know if I was going to like L.A. because I'm, Midwest guys.
Yeah, totally different environment, totally different people.
If I don't see cornfields, I don't know what.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But I spent some time out there, a lot of time out there over the summer, actually, and it was really, really cool. I had a great time, and it gave you that little taste of the life that you wanna live. So, but yeah, just a great experience all around.
I think experience like that is probably really important to keep up your inspiration, your motivation. Having that, I think, myself as a musician, if I don't see a progression, I almost get discouraged.
Yeah.
So, and I think something like that, I'm sure, could. Probably
definitely.
Once you
you're like,
you got the taste.
The
now
light at the end of the tunnel kind of thing.
You see it's there. You can reach it.
Yeah, it starts to kind of validate it. It's like, okay, now I know this is for real. I'm doing the right thing.
This makes me think of a random question. I think we've seen on your Spotify some of your inspirations. I think it was like Ed Sheeran. I think I've seen Adele. Stuff like that. Do you ever look up their stories? You ever seen how they started and they were Matt DeMarco is a good example. I think he's living in his car before he hit it big or something like that. Stuff like that. I'm like, oh my God, they were bad off.
Yeah. They needed something to happen, but I look at those all the time, and it kind of reminds me to take a deep breath, relax. Everything is gonna turn out okay. Because I do get a little anxious about that kind of stuff. Why isn't this happening, or why isn't that happening?
Yeah, you hear your favorite artists on the radio and stuff, and you're like, well, shit. It's hard to remember that they're normal people too, who also came from the same humble beginnings to now they're stars, but it wasn't like that the whole time. They had to bust their ass to get to where they are.
Do you think it's unhealthy to compare yourself to others?
To an extent, I've found that, especially with a tool like YouTube, I think it's made me such a better musician because I look at those videos and I'm comparing myself to people that are the best in the world at what they do. So I'll never say after watching that YouTube video of with guitar, for example, I love playing guitar and trying to solo. So I can watch the best guitar players throughout history do all that stuff, and I'm never going to be better than them. So it kind of gives you that motivation. So I think comparing yourself in that way is good, but I think to say, oh, well, this guy was 20 years old, or this guy was 19 years old, and he was doing this already, and I'm older than that, and I'm not doing that yet. It's kind of
they're separate timelines.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone's life is
go
different.
At your own pace.
And I think we always talk about this if we ever play a show, instead of comparing to other bands that night, it's hey, the last show we played, are we better than that? Are we better than what we were? Mm-hmm. And I think that has really helped kind of let you feel more comfortable in your own skin. So because I think it could be unhealthy too.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Oh, this guy's really fucking good. Why am I not that good or something like that?
Obsess over the stuff that you can only change it if you're you got to do it. You're not.
Absolutely.
Don't worrying about what he's doing is not gonna.
Yeah, you can talk about it all day or
situation.
think about it all day, but unless you're actually putting your fingers on the fretboard, you're not making any difference.
Right.
Definitely.
You just kind of talking about challenges. In your career or just life in general, do you think there's anything that stands out that's kind of made you know what you want to be and what you want to do?
Maybe math class or something.
Yeah, I don't want to do that shit.
Yeah. When I went to Algebra 2, it really fucked me up, and that's why.
Exactly. But I've always been artistic, as a kid even, and things like that. I thought I wanted to get into film before I was dead set on music when I was 14.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it takes a special kind of mind
Yeah.
to want to get into music or to film or to to anything like that, anything that's creative, that's kind of outside the box. Normal people will never understand. Like, they'll be like, "That's crazy. It's crazy. You want to be a star. You want to work on music. That's crazy."
I like the term "normal people."
Normal people.
Those
it's either
people.
I guess
Well,
I guess
no,
that's not
okay.
the best way to put
I
it.
will
But
say this: as a musician, not being weird. I think all musicians are weird to some degree.
you kind of have to be.
You do. You do have to be kind of weird to think of stuff because I'll hear people play something on guitar. I'm like, what the fuck were you thinking? How are you moving your fingers like that? Or lyrics about how it spoke, like how stuff like that. I think to some degree maybe you do have to be
different.
Weird.
Different.
Different.
And like the biggest thing I have to remind myself when I'm in the studio especially is this little thing that I'm fretting over. 99.9% of the people that are going to listen to it aren't going to give a fuck.
Yeah,
exactly.
What it is,
Yeah, they're not going to notice that.
Yeah. And so it's like I'm pulling my hair out over this little like lower in the mix, like the lowest possible in the mix little like guitar pattern, and like no one's going to even care. You know? So
right. Do you think like with having those kind of problems of like thinking like that, you think that's held you back, or you think that's like helping you progress?
I think it's helped me progress more than anything because it tells me the next time do it better.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking too. Because I'm the same way. Like, I'm super picky about the dumbest. I mean, me and him record a lot of stuff together, so he gets it. Like, I'm super picky about the dumbest little shit. I'll be like, dude, that note rang out for 2 seconds longer than it was supposed to. We got to get that fixed. Just dumb little shit like that.
Yeah.
But in the end, like, it helps you reach your goal. It helps you get to where it is in your head.
Definitely.
And ultimately, it does make you a better player because you're like, all right, next time that's not going to happen. I'm going to make damn sure it's not going to happen.
Well, I think something people don't think about, it's like, man, when you release something, that's it. That's what the world is seeing.
Yeah, it's a reflection of you. I mean,
Yeah, it is a reflection. I think that's a good, with music, art, anything like that. That's literally your brain, like, you're showing what people, like, what you feel. Like, I think, not to be cheesy, but I think that's cool. Like, anytime you get a chance to self-express, you want people to understand what you are about, like, what you're trying to say.
Well, especially like in new, it just hasn't been a thing except for maybe the last like 4 or 5 years. There's no takebacks, like you said. Once you put it out, like it's out there. There's no takebacks. Now
the internet,
every once in a while,
it's going to be up there forever.
Yeah, every once in a while now, an artist will find something and pull it off Spotify and put it back on. But it's like that wasn't a thing 10 years ago. Like you got to print it on CDs and it's out there and it's that's not going away. If you fucked up, everyone it's going to be there.
Right.
And you hear it every time you listen to it. You hear that little thing that you hate.
It makes you think of, I think it's like Eddie Van Halen. Every time he hears like Eruption, he's like, I fucking hate it. And I'm like, dude, that's pretty crazy. You're like a wizard.
Sounds good to me.
And that's stuff. Well, and when I hear stuff like that, I'm like, fuck. I'm like, I suck. I'm like, I can do so much more. Something I think music has, I don't know if you can relate, music has costed me a lot of money. I'm becoming a gear snob to some degree, like, not to dive in too much. You got worrying about gear, session time. God help you.
Yeah, I know. For real.
God help you. You're going like session time is to capture a song, not to write a song. Yeah, and I think.
Yeah, we learned that the hard way the first time we went to the studio. Like, we thought we were in good shape, and then we get into the studio, and I'm like, man, I never fleshed out this bass part for this, and this and that. It's like
I guess I never did write the song. What was your biggest thing in the studio? I think what have you learned?
Just to enjoy the time, live in the moment. Because the first few recordings I did, I was so thinking on next or being upset with how something was being. And I've learned to just kind of take everything that's happening in stride. Like, it's going to be okay in the end. Just have a good time because you're getting the privilege to go in there and record songs that you wrote, maybe in your bedroom or something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. I never really had that mindset. Right. That's a good way to think about it.
I guess another question. I hate just question after question.
Yeah.
But it brings up a point. So, when you're in the studio trying to capture that perfect moment, do you feel it's important to let yourself be vulnerable, like with your emotionally, like kind of when you're showing people like, hey, this is what I kind of wrote. You ever get scared about that?
Yeah, that's why I try, before I record anything in the studio, I try to play it live, either in front of friends, at open mics, at a show that I'll be playing. I try to be performing it for a bit, so it's already been out there. I've already been able to experience being that vulnerable, and I've gotten over the nerves of it.
Okay, yeah, you can kind of gauge reactions and stuff like that and see, like, okay,
I can go in the studio, and then I can just be like, this is how it is now, like, it's a song. You know? Like,
yeah.
And that way, I guess you know for sure, like, okay, if I go into the studio, I can play this. There's going to be no issues. It's already fleshed out. Everything's put together.
Right. Well, it makes me think, like, you guys ever listen to a song and it makes you think of a part of your life? Like, just something. The first thing comes to mind, and not to dive into it, Tame Impala's The Less I Know, The Better. Mm-hmm. Brings up a whole, like, saga of a girl in my head. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Do you think, do you try to capture that same thing when you're releasing your music, like when you're talking about anything?
Yeah, I think being genuine is that's what I strive for the most, is being real about my experiences, because that's what I write my songs about. And I think I've had a pretty normal upbringing and things like that, to where the things that I go through, so many other people go through. Yeah. So just being able to, be specific to yourself, be true to yourself, and I think that kind of effect will happen, because people will sense the genuineness. Is that even a word?
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying.
But
I think I've used it, but I also use words that don't exist.
Yeah, he uses Boom Sean John.
You guys got a dictionary.
Well, we'll pause the podcast real quick. We'll get that figured out. Genuinality.
Yeah,
I'm just making shit up at this point.
But I couldn't even spell that if I tried. Here's a live performance of the song "Lost" by Jordan Dean, presented by Craft and Vinyl.
Hi, my name is Jordan Dean. This song's called "Lost." Tendency to overthink myself seems to hurt my health when I stumble around. And ever since you left, I've been on that path. I've been falling flat almost every night. 'Cause I've been looking for the answers, running through my brain. Nothing feels the same since we blew all of our chances. And pride could never pull me closer. I've been getting lost, paying all the costs just to forget that I knew us. I know that I talk too much when I get drunk. You can blame that on me, and I can self-destruct quicker than you wanna see. You can blame that on me. You can blame it on me. You can blame it on me. 'Cause I've been looking for the answer, running through my brain. Nothing feels the same since we blew all of our chances. And pride could never pull me closer. I've been getting lost, paying all the costs just to forget that I knew us. Lost, lost, lost. I've been getting lost, lost, lost. I've been getting lost, lost, lost. Could you help me find myself?
'Cause I've been getting lost, lost, lost. I've been getting lost, lost, lost. I've been getting lost, lost, lost. Could you help me find myself? 'Cause I've been getting lost, lost, lost. I've been getting lost, lost, lost. I've been getting lost, lost, lost. Could you help me find myself? 'Cause I've been getting lost, lost, lost. I've been getting lost, lost, lost. I've been getting lost, lost, lost. Could you help me find myself? 'Cause I've been looking for the answer, running through my brain. Nothing feels the same since we blew all of our chances.
Back to the podcast. But so it sounds like you've played quite a few shows. Have you ever had any like mishaps during a show, gig malfunctions?
Oof, yeah, so many. The microphone, because when I was using the looper, if you get the two mics too close together, it's just the screech of the sensor.
The worst feedback of all time.
And so I've had that, broken strings, voice cracks, all of them. The things you learn, the things you learn by playing.
Oh man, that's probably scary. Because if you're with a band, you're kind of like, all right, well, if I fuck up, they might think it's them. Yeah. But you're by yourself, so it's like, they know it's you.
Yeah, and the looper. The same thing. The looper has caused me some serious, because there's one thing practicing the looper and getting it done in your basement or wherever you're doing it.
Yeah.
And it's another thing to do the looper in front of 30 people.
Yeah.
You're a little bit off, then
the whole
song is just fucked. So.
Yeah, you click that button 1 millisecond too late, and it's like fuck the entire song.
I couldn't even imagine.
We've talked about that for live performances.
Yeah.
Should we try looping stuff? And it's like,
play it to a backing
I don't know,
track.
man.
Yeah.
Say with the backing tracks, you fuck something up, and it's like, it's so unforgiving. It's just it's there.
And you're off.
If it's you with
so
your guitar,
loud,
you can, you're a human, you can make adjustments. But it's like if you're playing with any tracks or anything like that, that shit scares the fuck out of me. That's one of my biggest fears.
Do you think drinking enough? Not to a point where you're hammered, having just enough, that perfect zone. You think that helps you with your performance, or you think that maybe gets the edge off? Is that bad
I think
to say?
that doing it, you can't be sloppy about it.
Yeah.
But for sure.
I mean, you can if you want to.
Yeah. No, I think one or two gets the juices flowing.
Yeah, they get you.
You got to up it on.
Yeah, exactly.
It's been about 30 minutes for it.
Got it all preheat.
Yeah, you preheat the oven and you're ready to roll.
For sure.
Oh, man. I think it's the first time I've ever asked that.
Really?
I think, obviously, there's pot out there. You know what I mean? There's
out
pot.
there. It's on the streets. Shit's dangerous.
The kids are
Just
getting
kidding.
to it.
Yeah.
Well, I have always wondered people's opinion on, you think it's cool to be stoned before you play? I know I couldn't do it. I couldn't even try to fathom it. I'd want to probably lay down and go to bed, or something like that. But I've seen people get sauced up. They medicate, sure, and they go up and play, and like, what? How you doing this?
For me, I think it's all about the music. I think it's all about what kind of music you're playing.
Yeah,
certain genres you can be high as fuck and it just flows and it just everything just happens. Other genres, I would say total no. If you're playing super technical stuff or like that, I would never.
I've opened for guys that just go more established guys that are coming through town on a tour or something that kind of have had their heyday. They're a little bit older. They just go drink for 2 hours and then they're just like, all right, well.
Yeah, I
here
guess
we
it
go
gets
again.
to a point where you know the song so well, it doesn't matter how trashed you are, it's just gonna come out.
I have to drink to think about it. Oh man, it's getting pretty dark. Well, I don't know. I think that stuff is interesting. I don't think people talk about it. Because I think drinking comes with the territory, and I know some people make it a point to be straight edge. I don't know if that's much of a movement anymore.
I mean, that's cool too. It's all about personal preference. Whoever it works for, But
Right. Yeah.
Me personally, I got to get 1 or 2 beers in before I get up there.
Well,
It just takes away all the anxiety that goes along with playing.
I always have the mindset of like, okay, I'm going to look fat regardless. Just gotta get that right. Let's put this on the table. I'm the kind of guy. My glasses will hang off my face. I'm gonna make weird faces when I play, but that's what I got to do to get.
As long as the shirt's still on, we're good.
Yes, I do stay clothed, but. There's no promise.
That may change in the near future.
Yeah, I think you could rock shirtless.
I don't want to. What's the joke? We always have like I'll probably look like a used bar. So
we always talk about him stage diving, but it's like, man, you got to be careful because the people in the front have to be able to catch an LG refrigerator.
Yeah, that's like an LG fridge. Falling. Yeah.
Maybe if you guys play for like the NFL or something.
That's another thing. Comes with the territory.
So I guess back to the music part of things. Let's. I've seen that you've only consistently dropped singles. Mm-hmm. Do you think that's kind of important to keep dripping off content, or do you think you're going to start working on like an EP or an album anytime soon?
Yeah. So I think I'm going to release 2 more tracks as singles and then package Gone Lost and those 2 as an EP.
Okay.
Okay, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's
as like a re-release kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then I have an album written. Like I have a full album done. I just need to record it. And that's kind of that's kind of what I'm stressing about. Yeah. So I'm kind of deciding whether I should just kind of record a little bit here, a little bit there, or just go in and try to get it all done and figure out how to release it later.
Yeah, well, I mean, these days it's it's a lot different than it used to be, where you can people kind of thrive on singles and EPs anymore because it's hard to capture the listener's attention for 40 minutes to an hour versus you put out a single, you're looking at 2.5 to 4 minutes maybe. Mm-hmm. It's way easier to capture your audience in the streaming days.
Yeah, but that kid that grew up listening to music just wants to put out an album. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
well, and it's
just cool to do. It's like cool to say, like, I put out an album.
I like when albums have themes to it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or like when you listen to something that consistently goes
like a concept album.
Would you say the album you have written? Do you think you have like that theme, or is it just parts of your life you're showing people? Or what do you think?
I'd say the theme is just my late teen years. Okay. And like that kind of, because I've had these songs for a while now, and I'm just kind of like most of them are written when I was 18, 19. So
some stuff you've been sitting on, just waiting to get it all put together.
It makes me angry. I think it gives me writer's block because I'll try to go write, and then I'll be like, well, shit, I already have all these that I want to record. I don't want to write anymore. I want to get.
Well, do you ever worry about like, so you're going to record the stuff that you wrote, years ago? Mm-hmm. You ever worry about like, well, shit, if I release this out of order, like being in different times of your life, like the content or the theme of what you're writing about is a little different. You're like, well, I wrote that when I was 18 versus now. Mm-hmm. Your mindset might be totally different.
Yeah, totally. Because Lost, the one I just released, actually was the second last song that I wrote on my like fake album that I kind of thought of in my mind. So Gone was written when I was 18.
Okay.
So that was a big jump in between a couple of years between those songs. And you can kind of tell the way that they're written, but that's another thing. I'd like to get those early ones out first, but I also, when I get in the studio, I want to record the best that I have.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
You got to find that balance of kind of not focusing too much on the time aspect of it and more on these are your best songs. Because, I mean, it's not like I'm an established artist. I'm still trying to make it, and when I don't have all the resources to just be in the studio as much as I want.
Yeah.
I kind of got to go with the best I have.
Yeah, you got to get like the most bang for your buck, kind of.
Yeah, right.
To make sure you're getting the right stuff.
I think that actually brings up a point. What do you think? I feel like financially, that's probably really hard for artists up and coming.
It's beer time.
Oh, thank you. Troy's making an appearance on it right now. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so I think like financially, at least I don't know if you guys would agree. You think that's like something that restrains artists now, like kind of at the beginning? So much, yeah, because I know it's easier than ever to record when you're in your room and things like that, but that equipment costs a lot of money. Especially if you're a guy like me that prefers like a lot of those real instruments. Yeah. And you're not just making beats on Ableton. And on top of that, you have to have the knowledge of how to do it. Because like it's one thing to buy the equipment, but like for me, for like up until like
2 years. I've been playing guitar for like 12 years, but like for 90% of that time, I didn't know how to record myself playing.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to capture anything. So it's just like, on top of being a musician, you also have to learn how to be an audio engineer, how to at least get yourself in.
Definitely.
So that's like
and
its
that's a
own
learning
struggle.
curve. That's a long time
absolutely.
you got to take to learn that. So it's either is the time and money of building a home kind of bedroom studio worth the kind of just money financial thing you can do when you get in and you can get them out as quickly as you can.
Yeah.
So it's a tough balance.
Absolutely. Well, so this kind of bounces off of where we were just at. So on top of, being a musician, you also have to learn how to get yourself into the system. But, for a lot of people, especially people who haven't, had any interaction with labels or anything like that, you also have to worry about promoting. So that's something I want to talk about. How do you do your promotion? How does that work for you when it comes to, like, when you put out a new single, what's your go-to?
I mean, Instagram is where I have the best following, I'd say. So I go to Instagram right away, post about that stuff.
That's all right. No worries.
Not the beats.
Yeah. Oh, no.
But so I go to Instagram, and I'm actually quite bad at it, to be completely honest with you guys. That's not something, like, I text everyone I know, and I try to get the word out that way, and I tell my friends to tell their friends' friends to tell their friends' friends.
Yeah.
But I'm not great at making content. Like, it makes me cringe to see all those selfie videos.
Well, it's a
like,
separate job on its own. It's like that's
exactly.
People go to college just for marketing and promotion, and
with Enkindled, we're learning every day what it takes to because on Instagram, if you want to grow, you got to post every day. There's also key times in the day you need to post, and I think important stuff. And this just as long as with your same with your music. Your posts need to be relatable. You know what I mean?
Reflections of you.
Yeah, exactly.
And things like that. And it's like, you said about posting every day. And that's the number one thing everyone says to do is post every day. But me as a solo artist, when I'm trying to connect with people, I know that when people post every day, it annoys the hell out of me.
Yeah,
so,
I don't want to blows up your feed all the
time.
Yeah.
So I don't want to I want to do as much promotion as I can without being annoying.
Because that absolutely can turn people off.
I've met a lot of people that are very unclassy about.
Yeah, I was going to say we talked about that, about being classy with promotion.
Yes, and there is nothing more off-putting if you're like, "Hey, bro, got my 10th show of the week.
Come,
you haven't comp my mixtape.
Yeah.
I'm going places, man." And I'm like,
Or
I don't.
This is slightly a tangent, but it's related to that. We were in Nashville just on a trip just for the hell of it. And there was a guy, and Alonzo and my other buddy were really bad about, I'm really bad, if I see a homeless person or there's anybody outside and they stop to talk to me for a second, I'm always the guy that gets stuck talking. He'll just keep on walking down the street.
Well, I'm not I have nothing for you. Moving forward.
So this guy was not a homeless guy. He was an artist he was like, "Hey man, just passing out mixtapes," and he handed me one. And I'm like, "Okay, cool, I'll check it out." And I start walking. He's like, "Hey man, but I'm also doing donations on that." So then I'm like, "Oh fuck," he's already got it in my hand, and I'm like, "Shit, man." And I pull out. I'm like, "Fine, man." I was like, "I got a couple dollars." And so I pull out, I'm like, "I'll give you $2. I had $3 on me right now. So I'm like, I'll give you $2. I got to use this other dollar for something." He's like, "Well, I see $3 right there." And I'm like, "Fuck, man, okay, here's $3." So I'm like,
yeah.
So I'm like, now I just got conned.
Good word.
First it was here, take this, check it out, let me know what you think. And then as I get 2 feet away, he's like, "But I'm also doing donations. I don't want to give them away for free, man. I'm busting my ass." And I'm like, "Oh, I get it. I paid for studio time. You don't want to pass out your shit for free." So it's like, I get it. I'm willing to pay him, but. Yeah, it's that was
the extra
kind of
dollars,
unclassy way. That was an unclassy way of promoting.
The class, man, it's so important, and it is, and that will stop people from listening to certain things. I feel.
Yeah.
So I don't know. To me, if it's if I feel or it's like a car salesman coming up to me and telling me what I want. I'm like, "You don't know what I want.
You don't know.
Let me decide.
I want a Kia Soul. You don't know what I want. I don't want a Kia Soul. Let's get that on record.
That's your dream car, the Kia Soul.
Right, yeah.
But I mean, obviously, whatever you're doing is working because we found you. So, so just we came across your music, and
that's a good point.
So you got it out there. At least in Ohio. I mean, we're not super far away from you. We're at least a couple hours. So. Whatever you're doing, it's getting around, and it seems like we talked about this earlier. The numbers on Spotify,
they're starting to get
10K on was it Lost?
Yeah, 90K on another
today,
one, right?
90K on Gone. So hopefully we get that to 100K soon.
Yeah,
that got picked up on Discover Weekly, which gave it a huge.
Yeah, dude, that's I'm so happy you mentioned that. I think that's the reason alone. I think I prefer Spotify over Apple. Like I have iPhone, everything, whatever it is. But those playlists are important. Sharing those out, and that's another cool thing. I think back in the day, 80s, right? They're passing out CDs, the texting
Tapes.
a playlist, texting, just texting an artist account to Spotify. It's so easy. Just it takes seconds.
2 seconds.
Yeah. So I think that's a really good thing. So you would say that Discover Weekly definitely helped pop you up?
Oh yeah, for sure. And it was like the first time. It was so funny because I was getting followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
And they were shooting me DMs, and they were like, "Hey, like I found your stuff on Discover Weekly. I just wanted to say I really, really like it." And it's like it's kind of a humbling thing to be like, "Wow, people that I have never met and probably will never meet."
Yeah,
found my
you're just
music
getting messages
and
from
like
people.
That is pretty cool. Yeah.
And it was a really nice thing.
So how did that even come about? I know like when you post a song on Spotify, it gives you the option to like send to Spotify. Did you do that, or did they come? Like, how did that happen? How did you end up on that playlist?
Somewhere around 10,000 organic streams that I got myself.
Yeah.
The next Monday, I looked because you can tell how many people are listening at once.
Yeah.
You guys seen the app and stuff.
Yeah.
And I woke up on Monday morning, and it was like 60 people are listening right
shit.
now, and I was
Yeah.
like, something's off, something's
Yeah.
weird. So like when Tuesday came about, I saw like where I was getting my streams from, and it said
Oh, okay,
Discover
yeah, it
Weekly.
tells you all the yeah.
And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, no, I've had that. I think that we had one time I got on there and there were like 5 people listening at one time, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Okay, So it's like, I can only imagine like the excitement when you open it up. You're just like, you have no clue what to expect, and you're like, 60 people. That's got to be a glitch.
Yeah, exactly.
What happened?
One of the best days.
Yeah.
for sure.
I don't think we've ever dived too much deep on like anything going on in the world, but do you think this is out of the blue? I've always wanted to see how anyone would take this. Do you think like today's society affects how you're wanting to do your music?
In terms of promoting it, or like just music in general?
Like let's say, across the board, promotion, the way you want people to see you. Like, do you ever get like if you want to talk about something, maybe you're scared to talk about it because you're like, oh, people are gonna like blacklist me or what? Just random stuff. Like I don't know. Any way you want to answer it?
Yeah, I mean, definitely the promotion stuff is weird because I'm kind of in that in between where I didn't grow up with streaming, but like I still grew up with like CDs and the like iTunes store.
Yeah,
and so. And streaming's so new because even from 2015, 5 years ago, like it is so much bigger than it was in 2015.
Totally.
Right.
Yeah, because it was nothing then.
Yeah, and I was never like a YouTube kid or anything like that. I listened to like soul music. I liked like older stuff, retro things.
Sure.
And I've come around on kind of embracing social media and things like that. I wasn't huge on it when I was starting, but like I don't think I'd have an Instagram if I wasn't for music, but you can't do it without one. So
yeah, it's kind of like that's where people go.
I think social media is kind of a necessity for any kind of networking, I feel.
For sure, especially upcoming artists.
Yes.
So that, from a promoting aspect, yes, definitely changed what I would be doing in the new era. In terms of songwriting or my music, I mean, I think we live in a great time where you can find anything you want in 2 seconds on Spotify or anything. So that's helped me. My taste might be a little stuck in 2014, to be honest, because that's when a lot of my favorite albums, like that I still use, like look to for influence today, kind of came out. But I don't. It's tough because I've never really experienced doing it in any other era, so I don't know if
it's hard to
today's
compare
society,
it to anything. Yeah,
because I'm sure those, as much as we want to glorify like the bands of the past, I'm sure they had their own difficulties that we don't really talk about now.
Right.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. I think up until probably 15, 20 years ago, like your music was never going to be heard if you weren't signed to a major label. Mm-hmm. It was just like, there was no way to get your music out on a major scale up until, streaming services and YouTube, hit the scene. If you were an independent artist, it's like, cool, no one's ever going to hear it.
Yeah, right. I mean, you might be big locally, which I mean,
which is cool in its own. Which is good in its own right.
Do you? So I guess that's the next question. Are labels pointless? now?
That's tough. I go back and forth on this because
not owning your own music, having financial backing to make
I think your contract at the end of the day makes all the difference.
Okay.
If you don't own your own music, then, you're kind of just like, you're getting paid, you're doing it, but at the end of the day, whenever your contract's done, so are you.
I hope we're not trying to put you on the spot with like your indie label or nothing like that. Just, I guess, across the board is...
we live in that kind of that in-between time with the labels, too, because a guy that I look at a lot now, Lewis Capaldi, you know who he is?
I've heard that name before.
He's some Scottish singer-songwriter. He's, doing really well. He's got a number
okay,
one.
yeah, I know. I know one song. I can't remember the name of it, but I know there was one that was he had one that kind of blew up for a while that I know of.
Mm-hmm. But he got, because I've looked at his story a lot because it was post-streaming kind of. Because a lot of the artists I listened to were before streaming, and his was kind of post. So he released a song, and it got on New Music Friday on Spotify, and it kind of blew up, and that was his first release. And then he signed to a major label, and now he's one of the biggest artists, especially the UK and Europe. Not so much America, but so would he be there without the major label? Probably not. But it's tough because a guy like Rex Orange County, then you can look at him.
Yeah, you get people.
He's all independent.
All independent.
Okay,
yeah,
I didn't know that.
He's got a team because that's the big thing now. The big trend now is buy or get yourself a label-esque team.
Yeah, you hire your own people once you're
Not so much sell out for the label.
They focus on you solely. Okay. Mm-hmm. I've never even realized the team thing.
Yeah.
Because what do labels do at the end of the day? Besides financial backing and
honestly, the financial backing
is that it?
The biggest for sure.
The promotion,
especially
a
now,
lot of them have.
They'll help out with promotion.
If you get put on a big label, you have the opportunity to be in front of millions of eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I guess that's a benefit, but is it worth?
But they also take a lot more.
Yeah, I was going to say if you're gonna sell if you're gonna sell the rights to your music, is that worth it? It depends on you want the money or you want the music.
Yeah,
that's kind of where you end up.
That's super interesting. I feel. I wonder.
Definitely.
Yeah, I wonder if you think with that in mind, you think that will ever kind of affect your judgment? I know. Maybe that's thinking too far ahead. Maybe.
Yeah, it'd be great, but the labels are also looking for people that are established now because you can be established.
Yeah.
So when they take you, you kind of have some leverage now when you go in and negotiate.
Yeah, they're
contracts.
not just grabbing some band off the street.
Exactly.
They're getting somebody who.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that makes. I never thought about that. That you kind of have to. I guess now you have the opportunity to get in front of the eyes of a label before you even get into anything contractual.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I guess bringing stuff to conclusion. What do you want people to know about you, Jordan? Your music. I remember you mentioned you're in college now. Mm-hmm. I'm sure classes, music. There's a lot of hard stuff. Work you're putting yourself through. What do you want people to know?
That my goal at the end of the day is just to be able to record all the music that I want to record and play shows for people that genuinely want to come out and see me play my music and connect with the songs that I write, because that's what I do it for at the end of the day. Is I use it. A lot of my songwriting is therapeutic, and it's for me. And when I get out there and I see other people say, wow, this touched me, or this made me think of this, it really makes me feel good, because that means I was able to say through my music to them that other people are going through this stuff. So no matter how mundane it is, relationships, stuff like that,
Yeah, it's stuff that everyone goes through, and
right.
It's just your interpretation of it.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good feeling when people can kind of get away,
definitely,
from maybe their own reality listening to your music, and I'm sure that's very rewarding in itself. Mm-hmm. Are you on You're on Spotify?
Spotify, Apple Music. I'm on Deezer, believe it or not. The big player.
That takes some time.
What is that? I've never heard of that.
I don't even know.
European streaming service.
Yeah.
Whoa! I had no clue.
It takes some time.
Okay. Instagram.
Instagram is Jordan Dean _music. My Twitter that nobody follows, barely. I'm not a Twitter guy, I guess.
Right.
I have 70 followers, but that's Jordan Dean MUSC because
Okay.
you got the character limit.
Right. Yeah, right. Yep. I think you got your website.
My website, www.jordan-dean.com. And you can find my music. Just search Jordan Dean. I'm usually the first one that comes up. So
Cool. Well, thank you. We appreciate your time.
yeah, thank you for having me. This has been a really fun experience. I'm glad I got to do
Yeah,
this.
absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks.
As always, thanks for sticking around for the podcast, and playing us out is Jordan Dean's live performance of Gone.
How's everyone doing? My name's Jordan Dean. This song's called Gone.
One foot out the door, what you leaving for this time? This just don't feel right. Lying on the floor, wanting something more this time. This just don't feel right. 'Cause maybe if I told you what you meant to me, and I didn't act so casually about this, about us, then I'd probably have you next to me. I'm saying now, ooh, I wanna feel your love again. I wanna feel your touch again. Now, ooh, I wanna feel your love again. I wanna feel your touch again. It was my bad, I know now. Shakes me to my core. Now I'm down on my back and I'm beginning to crack, and I can't help but think. No, I can't help but think. Maybe if I told you what you meant to me, and I didn't act so casually about this, about us, then I'd probably have you next to me. I'm saying now, ooh, I wanna feel your love again. I wanna feel your touch again. Ooh, I wanna feel your love again. I wanna feel your touch again. It was my bad, I know now. 'Cause I didn't know what I had until it was gone, gone, gone. And all of these thoughts in my head tell me I'm wrong, wrong, wrong. 'Cause maybe if I told you what you meant to me, and I didn't act so casually about this, about us, then I'd probably have you next to me. And I'm saying now, ooh, I wanna feel your love again. I wanna feel your touch again. Now, ooh, I wanna feel your love again. I wanna feel your touch again. Now